How can one help an avoidant in opening up to talking and talking? So, hmm, hmm. So there's a degree to which you can help someone who's struggling with insecure attachment. In this case, maybe it's avoidance, maybe it's fearful avoidance, or even anxiety. So there's a degree to which you can show up, right? And to my mind, communication is sort of the first rule out factor. Am I expressing myself in such a way that I am being honest about what I'm really feeling, and my words are expressing the let's say most authentic vibratory quality of that feeling? Meaning feelings are energy moving through your body, and am I accurately describing energy right now, or am I using my words to evaluate their behavior, and that is defining my feeling? I'll explain that in a second. Am I aware of how attachment styles are affecting our communication, and in other words, the triggers that my partner has? And am I well versed in the strategies that I can use to skirt those triggers while still showing up in a generous way for my partner in this relationship? And once we get that out of the way, yes, we answer yes to both those questions. Now it's like, okay, so do we have compatible values and priorities in this and the similar vision for our future together? Because relationships are made up of both tangible and intangible aspects, right? Love is the intangible, values and priorities are the tangible. So do we actually have the same values and priorities? And are we equally motivated to contribute to the tangible processes that we would need to engage with in order to affect that in the world of physical form? So 3 things. Am I expressing myself honestly? Am I using the strategies with a sensitivity to my partner's triggers so that I can communicate in such a way that it is prepared to land the best that it possibly could? And underneath all that, once we get that straightened away, do we actually have the same values and priorities in love and in relationship, I should say? Okay, so first, am I expressing myself clearly? So we are often not taught the most effective ways to communicate and the most authentic ways to communicate how we are feeling. So first, emotions are energy moving through your body, and your body is the first organizer of experience. And so what happens when we first start to understand what emotions are, what feelings are moving through our bodies, we are taught that because our good enough parents in our environments acknowledged the energy moving through our bodies based on what they observe in our physical affect, meaning our facial features, the sound we're making, the movements we're making. Someone outside of us interpreted that and put a word to it, right? Now, if you grew up in a dysfunctional environment, and I use that word very broadly, meaning in an environment where you didn't have people who knew how to talk about feelings and recognize them and mirror them back to you in a very sophisticated way. And I will say right now, even secure people often have not had this experience. Then what happens is our own vocabulary and language for understanding feelings and how to express them honestly is stunted. And I would say this is probably true for most of the Western world, if not the whole world, but I will stick with what I know. So, for example, when we start to say, I'm going to express myself honestly, we may say something like, well, I feel abandoned. Now, it's nice that we've started that phrase with I feel, right? We're starting to recenter a little bit. But the word abandoned is not really a feeling word, and it completely decenters you in that moment. And it is an evaluation. Abandoned is an evaluation of what somebody else is doing to you, because there's an invisible part on the end of that sentence. I feel abandoned by you. So it's still not really a true feeling statement. And if we're expressing ourselves that way, it's going to make the other person feel attacked. And like you're analyzing or criticizing them, and you're depending on them to not abandon to change your feeling, which means that you've also laid full responsibility for your feelings at their feet, and that's just going to push them away even more. Abandoned, neglected, dismissed, unacknowledged, unseen. None of them are real feeling words. Okay. So what is the feeling? So if you are abandoned, what is the energy moving through your body? What is the quality of the energy moving through your body? Oh, it's tight, it's hollow, it's heavy, it's dark, it's spiky, it's lonely, angry, frustrated. Okay, these are words that are a closer approximation to the quality of the energy moving through your body. So so you're talking to a partner, and instead of saying, I feel abandoned by you, we say, I'm feeling so lonely right now. And I'm feeling hollow, and I'm feeling this weight in my chest, and it makes my throat want to close up. And I'm just hoping that in sharing this with you, that you'll be willing to be present with me and to help me explore how I can shift this feeling. So we're inviting someone into your emotional experience without accusing them of causing it. And we're also inviting them to be a part of the solution of their own free will. And so when we say, I feel abandoned by you, we just filled up the space between us and reached for them by pushing them. But when we say, I feel hollow, heavy, and empty, and I'm wondering if you are willing to be with me in this moment, we just pulled the energy back in. We connected to our center. Yeah, it's an uncomfortable feeling, but it's yours. And you're owning it. And now we've just created all this space by extending an invitation for somebody else to come and join you there. Right? Okay. So that's number one. Are we expressing ourselves authentically and using the right words? And are we inviting them into the space, meaning creating space for them to move towards us? Right. And so now the second thing, am I using strategies in communication that are mindful of their triggers and how I might phrase things so that they can land better? So this is a deep topic. And my course, The Courageous Communicator, gives you 9 lessons over the course of 90 days to become masterful in this. So I'll leave a link to that in the caption of this video. We have holiday pricing going on for that course right now. So if you want to learn this in depth, I recommend checking that out. But in essence, when we're talking about attachment styles and how they affect the way that we communicate with each other, you really want to be aware of safe and soft strategies and how to communicate empathetically or empathically with someone, right? So soft strategies are particularly effective with partners that have avoidant attachment. And this means that you are prefacing and preframing your communications with an air of respecting their autonomy, and you're expressing appreciation for them, right? So instead of focusing on when you recognize a need within you, and well, I want more of this, okay, or I don't have enough of this, which means I need more of that. So you want to kind of look at, why do I need and want more of that? What is the good feeling I attach to the idea that once I have more of that, then I will feel what? Whatever it is, safe, comfortable, aroused, excited, attractive, whatever, the good feelings are. So we want to shift that. And well, why do I want more of that? Because I appreciate it, because I appreciate that feeling. Okay. So you start saying, so-and-so, man, I really love it when you do XYZ, because when you do, it inspires this juicy feeling of attraction, and it makes me feel, so grateful to be in this relationship. And I find myself really wondering if we can create more opportunities for that, because it would just really light me up. Right. And I'm just wondering, when you're doing that, how does it feel for you? And are there ways that I can support you in creating more opportunities for that? Right. Make it juicy and respect their choice and respect what they do offer. And you'll get more of it. You get more with honey than you do with vinegar. Okay. Soft strategies. Then we have safe strategies. Now on the other end, and incidentally, everyone's going to like that, of course. But folks that have leaned towards avoidance, whether it's dismissive avoidance or fearful avoidance, and in that moment they're being more avoidant, it's going to work better with them. Now, safe strategies are when our communications are really about sussing out the quality of our connection and wanting to feel safe. And we're using our language to feel safe. And for anxious open hearts, sometimes they tend to slip into mechanisms of control when they feel unsafe. So they may use things like overanalysis, criticism, being over articulate, narrating things, jumping ahead to fix the problem because they see it coming a mile away. And this is a way of trying to, if I can control the situation, then my connection is safe, right? then I don't have to worry about disconnection. Then I don't have to worry about losing them or being abandoned or rejected because I control the situation. And so control becomes the path to connection. So anytime someone is exerting more control, or they're trying to mitigate a negative outcome, and they're exerting control to do that, it's because they're feeling some level of disconnect. And so we want to recognize that as a bid for safety. So when your anxious partner starts sounding controlling, realize in that moment that there's just a younger, softer, sweeter part of them that's asking for reassurance, that's asking for you to reassure them that things are okay, that they're safe, that you love them, right? And so instead of feeling, oh, they're trying to control me or smother me, they're just using me, no, there's just a soft, tender part of them that feels unsafe. And so in that moment, we use safe strategies, which is to pre-frame your communications with the reassurance of safety and connection. It could be something just as simple as reaching out and holding their hand while you talk to them. It could be, I hear that you're worried about how this is going to go, and it seems like you're kind of scrambling to make sure it goes the way you want it to. But let me reassure you that no matter what happens, we're good. I'm here and we'll figure it out together. Right. So there's a level of reassurance and safety that we are offering with safe strategies. So that's the first and second thing. Am I expressing myself authentically using language that is true to the experience of the energy moving through my body? And am I using safe and soft strategies, acknowledging that certain words are going to be more or less triggering for my partner based on attachment style? Okay. And this includes, incidentally, a knowledge of your own triggers, right? And then the last part here, of course, is, do we actually have compatible values and priorities? So this is the practical stuff. This is do we want the same things? Do we feel the same way about children? Do we have jobs that will allow us to have shared time on the weekends or in the evenings? How important is it to me to have dinner together every night? Or can it only be a couple of nights a week because someone works second shift and the other person works first shift? Our leisure time, do we have similar values in terms of how we want to spend that? Religious and cultural beliefs, things that you value as being part of a community, a sense of purpose and generativity. Do you want the person that you are going to be with for the rest of your life to be someone who also wants to give back to humanity or give back to the community in which you live? Are they someone who's going to want to travel a lot, or are they going to be someone that's more of a homebody? When we are in the throes of attachment hunger, we don't think these things are so important because they don't feel so immediate to our existential survival, but they are. They're important to the long term. And so that's why I say communication is a rule out factor, because when we start expressing ourselves authentically and we start expressing ourselves with mindfulness and understanding our own triggers and that of our partners, we start removing all the goop, right? All of the content, the surface level content that keeps our nervous system in an uproar. All of a sudden it starts to calm down. And we're like, okay, well, now that I'm not preoccupied with all that drama and the he said, she said drama, do we actually want the same things? And sometimes you find out that you do. You're like, wow, that it's like night and day. Man, we cleaned up the communication and this relationship just totally blossomed. And sometimes what you find out is we cleaned up the communication. We're getting along well now. The same things don't trigger us anymore. And we don't actually want the same things. A lot of what was holding us together was an attachment narrative that was trying to relive in order to revise some old wound. And now we've revised that wound. And guess what? That was the purpose of the whole relationship. It wasn't meant to be the lifelong one. Okay. And so that can be hard, because it means in that moment, loving that person means letting them go. Truly loving that person and truly loving yourself means letting it go. And it's not from a place of acrimony, And it's not from a place of not getting what you deserved or you did something wrong. It just means that that was the purpose of that relationship, was to help you sift through that muck, that dust that was in your spiritual corners. And now the relationship, which may have been a soulmate relationship for that reason, has shown you what dust needed to be swept out, what needed swept out. And now the two of you together in a beautiful way have cleared the muck off of that light bulb, that illumination that was shining within each of you underneath all the goop in the relationship. And you see now that there was a higher purpose. There was a really important lesson and cause for expansion that existed in the seed of this relationship through all the fighting, all the up and down, all the miscommunications, all the feelings of isolation and anger and frustration and resentment and sacrifice and duty and that all of it created space. All of it created this beautiful space that you now get to grow into. And realizing now that you're not actually aligned for a long-term mission, but that you came together for that period of time to show you this, means that you can love each other most profoundly by letting each other go. And that's okay. That's beautiful. It's beautiful, right?